Let us now go ahead and talk about population growth and age structure. So now an important thing that we need to go ahead and talk about is how population has been changing globally over time, first of all. So this is some statistics that you can go ahead and have a look at. Notice that in 1800, you had 1 billion population, 1900, 1.65, 2006 billion, and 2008, 7.6 billion people. So over time, the population in the world, population globally has skyrocketed. Population बहुत ज़्यादा बढ़ी है over time, right? Now, let us try to understand what has happened between the countries, among the countries. कैसे population change हुई है among countries. So it has been seen that the population has been rapidly growing in the low and middle income countries. अगर हम low income countries और low middle income countries का बात करें especially, so there has been huge increase in the population of these countries. Right? When we talk about the developed countries, ऐसा देखा गया है कि जितने बच्चे पैदा हो रहे हैं, whatever has been the birth rate, almost the death rate has been either equal or the death rate has been more than the birth rate. So either the population is keeping unchanged, population change ही नहीं हो रहा, because death rate and birth rate are equal to each other, or it has been seen that because the death rate is more than the birth rate, what has been seen that over time the population is decreasing. Population decrease हो रहा है, right? Now, the birth rate is defined by a measure which is called as crude birth rate. कैसे measure होता है birth rate? By a measure called as crude birth rate. What is crude birth rate? The number of children born per 1000 population. तो हर 1000 लोगों में कितने नए लोग पैदा हो रहे हैं? How many new children are born alive per 1000 population? That is called as crude birth rate. Now, when birth rate and death rate are equal to each other, it means that there is just replacement which is taking place. मतलब one person died and one person was born, so population is unchanged. But when death rate is more than birth rate, population is decreasing, right? It has been seen that these two phenomena are common in the developed countries. Developed countries में ऐसा देखा गया है कि या तो ये दोनों बराबर के हैं, either these two are equal to each other or death rate is more than birth rate. But in the developing countries, it has been seen that the birth rate is more than death rate, so the population is actually increasing. Population अभी बढ़ रही है. Population has been increasing. Now, population growth can be the gap. Second, population growth can be the gap between the birth rate and the death rate, right? So, if I tell you कि एक साल में there are 100 new people who are born, right? And out of the existing population, 60 people died, right? So, you can see that 100 new people are born. So, this is birth rate, addition to the population. And 60 people died. So decrease in the population, right? So what is the net change in the population? 40. So this will be your growth in the population. Population will increase by 40, right? Now, to understand birth rate, another important thing that we want to understand is the fertility rate. Okay, how many birth is the women giving? Per women, how many birth are happening? कितने बच्चे एक women पैदा करती है अपनी लाइफ टाइम में, right? So we have seen that in 1965 the fertility rate or the birth rate per women was 5 live births, and in 2015 globally it has decreased to 2.5 birth. अब इसके पीछे बहुत सारे रीजन हो सकते हैं. There is an increase in the education of women, है ना? Women का social status improve हुआ है, improvement of social status, right? Then women is being added to the workforce, labor force. So she wants to work. So due to these reasons, we have seen that the fertility rate has fallen. Now, we need to understand that जो भी हमारी children वाला generation है, which is the age group of 0 to 15 years and 65 plus year, इन दोनों ही generation को they are called as the dependent generation. This is called as the dependent generation. Why dependent? Because they are not earning themselves. Okay, they are dependent on the in-between generation. माने 16 से लेके 65 तक का generation पे they are dependent. The people who are working, right, part of the workforce, right? So we say that this and this generation, they are called as economic dependency burden. They are referred to as economic dependency burden. क्यों? Because they are financially supported by labor force of the country. वो खुद से तो नहीं earn कर रहे हैं. So they are supported by the labor force of the country, by people who are working, by people who are earning, right? And secondly, they themselves, they are not part of the labor force. Now there is something which is called as demographic transition. Demographic transition क्या बोलता है? That initially in the initial phase of development, any country has high birth rate and high death rate. Birth rate ज्यादा क्यों है? Because वो country socially developed, वो country developed नहीं है, so customs and social thought उनका अच्छा नहीं है, right? They think that more children, more hands to work, right? They don't educate the women enough. Women का social status is not that good. तो birth rate is very high. Customs कहते हैं कि birth rate काफी high रहता है. Death rate क्यों high है? Because people are not given good health facilities. As a country goes through the process of development, धीरे धीरे death rate गिरना शुरू हो जाएगा. Death rate starts falling. Why death rate starts falling? Because the health facilities in the country improve, but birth rate is still high. As a country further progresses towards development, the birth rate also starts decreasing and death rate also starts decreasing. तो जैसे जैसे country अपने process of development पर रहती है, it has been seen that slowly the birth rate and death rate both decline, right? This process is called as demographic transition. कैसे कैसे एक कंट्री का डेमोग्राफी मतलब पॉपुलेशन ट्रांजिट करता है, अलग अलग फेजेस से जाता है, दैट इज कॉल्ड एज डेमोग्राफिक ट्रांजिशन, राइट? सो वी हैव सीन दैट ओवर टाइम एज यू गो टुवर्ड्स द मिडिल इनकम कंट्रीज, their birth rate starts to drastically fall, right? Children become adult. अब क्या हो रहा है देखो ध्यान से, 0 to 15 years वाले लोग कम होते जा रहे हैं. जो अभी तक 0 to 15 में थे वो वर्कफोर्स में जा रहे हैं. वर्कफोर्स बढ़ता जा रहा है, एक्सपैंड कर रहा है. बिकॉज वर्कफोर्स इज एक्सपैंडिंग, इनकम इज एक्सपैंडिंग, राइट? Because income is expanding, the country is growing, right? And it is going towards becoming a rich country, right? So children become adult, they become part of the workforce. The fraction of older population अभी भी small है, क्योंकि अभी ये लोग सिर्फ यहाँ आए हैं. They have become between 60 to 65. यहाँ पे there are still less people. So the country starts growing, income starts increasing, and country starts becoming a rich country. This process, when you become a rich country, this is called as demographic dividend. Dividend क्या होता है? Profit. How is the country profiting? Because of more workforce. Why is the workforce growing? Because of demographic transition. है ना? So in the process of demographic transition, जैसे जैसे demographic transition हो रहा है, the economy is increasing its GDP, it is getting benefited, and that benefit is called as demographic dividend. ये जो demographic dividend है, this demographic dividend, it plays a crucial opportunity for country to grow rapidly and become a high income country. इस process से एक country high income country बन सकती है, right? But remember, slowly this population, it will become old. Old people will increase. यहाँ पे कम लोग होंगे उस टाइम पे, because birth rate has fallen, less people. So less people will become part of workforce. And slowly more people will be in the old age. So एक phase ऐसा आएगा, there will be a phase when the workforce will become old, the workforce will decline, right? And the birth rate will be also less, right? And population will also start to decline. हाँ, इस टाइम पे क्योंकि वर्कफोर्स ही कम होना शुरू हो जाएगा, you will go ahead and see again a decrease in the GDP of the economy. Before you see this decline, you need to become a rich country. From a developing, you have to become a developed country. So countries face a challenge, and that is called as growing rich before growing old. बूढ़े होने से पहले अमीर बनना, जिससे पहले कि सारा का सारा ये जो पॉपुलेशन है जहां पे मैक्सिमम वर्कफोर्स था वो सब डिपेंडेंट बन जाए, वो सब ओल्ड हो जाए, और वो आपकी, और जो अब नया वर्कफोर्स हो वो कम हो, क्योंकि यहाँ पे लोग कम हैं तो कम पैसा कमा पाओ, उससे पहले पहले इनका मैक्सिमम यूज करके मैक्सिमम जीडीपी अर्न करना है. सो यू नीड टू इंश्योर दैट you become rich before you grow old, right? And this is a challenge which is faced by majority of the economies which are in the process of demographic transition, right? Okay beta, so this was your next key similarity difference point: population growth and age structure.